During the night, we made it to the Catholic cemetery, and both of us fell asleep. The next morning, approximately 10 o'clock in the morning, we started hearing some terrible, terrible screams and terrible cries and noises. So very slowly, we picked up our heads and looked out, and we saw a caravan of trucks and, wagons. Right next to the cemetery was a gravel pit, a municipal gravel pit that was not being used anymore. It was used up. And they were going in the direction of the gravel pit. Now, all of a sudden, we recognized all the Jewish women of our town, approximately 3,000 women and children. I saw my aunt, I saw my cousin, I saw all our neighbors around. I mean, I knew most of the town. I mean, we knew all each other. Anyway, that was all Lithuanians. I saw only a group of 6 Germans that were part of the group, but most of them were Lithuanians. The head of the Lithuanian group was the chief of our town, the chief of police of our town, by the name of Eisziškes. They brought the women to the gravel pit, and in groups of 100, they told them to undress, put their shoes in one place, their clothes in another place, and they started taking 100 people at a time down into the gravel pit, and they started shooting the women. Now, what my brother and I, we couldn't believe it what we were seeing, you know, because we didn't know yet that the people are being killed. Also, before they took the women down, the Lithuanian soldiers were raping the women. I saw my cousin, she was the most beautiful girl in our town, being raped repeatedly, that I think death was just a welcome to her, you know. What they were doing is they shot 100 women. There was Polish farmers standing around there, covering the layer with dirt. The next row of the women were shot, again a cover of dirt, until the whole gravel pit was filled up with most of the women. The children were still alive, and the children were milling around, and the Lithuanians were trying to keep them kind of corralled, you know, in the area there. And finally, I saw the chief of police, the Lithuanian chief of police, walk over to the Lithuanian soldiers and point in the direction of the kids, and some of the soldiers shook their heads saying no. I presume he was giving them an order to shoot the kids. Then he walked over to the 6 Germans, and the Germans shook their heads also, you know. And finally, he donned the smoke, something like a doctor, you know. And he himself, with 3 more Lithuanians, killed, I estimate, somewhere close to 1,000 kids. And the episode was over when it was getting dark. Keep in mind it happened in September. The days were still long. It was still light. And all of a sudden, we could see nothing else but moving dirt, because most of the people were not killed. Most of the people were suffocated because the people that dropped on top of them, or the dirt that was dropped on top of them, kind of suffocated them.